Hey folks, welcome back to Game Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. Today, we're getting an update on one of the patents that Nintendo has. And I talked about the one already that was rejected out of the Japanese patent office, which is this one right here. And this is in a family tree of patents, all kind of basically related to each other, either in series or in parallel. And yeah, the fact that this one is rejected, it ultimately means that Nintendo has one of the patents that it's trying to get PalWorld on. Well, it can't really use that right now. It can now. Nintendo can appeal, but ultimately, that's going to be part of the process, probably pushing this into 2026. And yeah, we'll see if they can appeal. But the big problem was the reason the JPO said ultimately rejecting the patent was because a lot of the mechanics that they're talking about have already been used in previous games. So they can't patent something that's already out there in the wild, right? That's already been used, and there's a paper trail, and there's games even that exist today that are using those mechanics. Now, the update from this is that the U.S. office is, redoing an investigation or an examination of a patent they already approved of for Nintendo. So let's go ahead and get into this. Yeah, this is this is pretty wild. So, in a stunning development attributed to the public outrage that started on Games Fray and reflecting concerns over implications of the reputation of the U.S. patent system as a whole, Squires has personally ordered at his own initiative his organization to take another look at the U.S. patent number 397. The director determined a re-examination was in order because of the two older published U.S. patent applications, one of which was filed by Konami in 2002, which, 23 years ago, and the other by Nintendo itself in 2019, which was published in 2020. Either one of those are prior art references, quote, teaches a player being allowed to perform a battle in a manual mode and in a simpler automatic mode. So the U.S. Patent Office already approved of this, but now it's being called to actually be re-examined. And this is not up to necessarily a vote or anything. No, this is actually happening. So now the re-examination is not revoking the patent, but the re-examination is to take a look if they should. And that is going to be huge because now we're looking at not just these necessary patents, right, that are, being used against PalWorld. But yeah, Nintendo, while one of these is rejected, now it puts into the question some of the others in this family tree. Now with a separate patent of being able to basically manually control monsters or being able to have them automatically battle for you, well, now that's being put into question. So now we have at a minimum 3 patents that are being questioned and or rejected that are being used in the PalWorld lawsuit. And again, PalWorld, all they have to do is really just change some mechanics, change some code, and make sure that those infringements aren't there in their game, which they've already worked on doing. But this whole lawsuit is really starting to just seem like it's frivolous at this point because Nintendo couldn't go after them for actual copyright because, again, right, those are not actual Pokemon. Those are PALs. They are slightly different and inspired not just by Pokemon but also other video games in the past. And PalWorld has been able so far to actually present that as evidence in the court case. But now, if Nintendo is losing the main things that they're using to try to get PalWorld to stop or to even take PalWorld down, which I think is ultimately what they want to do, well, then they don't have a case. They literally don't have a case at all. And, this is really not looking good. So all of this is basically going to push stuff into 2026. We're going to have to get through the holidays and the new year, and then we will see what happens in 2026. But it is good, though, that the U.S. Patent Office is ultimately, retaking a look at this. Because, the pushback, the videos that have been made, it's been kind of bringing some stuff to the attention. And I think, too, that also the Japanese Patent Office, too, having a rejection on one of these patents, citing older stuff, it kind of maybe embarrasses also the U.S. Patent Office, and maybe they feel like they need to do a better job and actually re-examine what they approved for Nintendo. So anyway, that's all the news I got for you today. But yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting, and Nintendo is just continuing to not have things go in their favor. So yeah, this is not necessarily good. And again, if Nintendo can't protect one of their IPs, then they can't protect any of them. What this will do in the future, like we've even seen with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, is that Nintendo will focus more on creating more actual patents for game mechanics that don't exist, and they will start having their own things. Of course, all of that's got to be detailed, right? And there's loopholes and workarounds for that too. But ultimately, I think if Nintendo can't protect their IPs directly through copyright and trademark, then they're just going to focus on making as many patents as they can. And they can make as many patents as they can. And then we're just going to continue to go through more of this type of garbage in the future. But Nintendo, I think, is maybe realizing that they're kind of losing their grasp on their monopoly. And I think that's great because basically they can have pretty simplistic and simple games that can be fun, but can be beaten in less than 10 hours. And they want to charge you $70 or $80 for those, and have mechanics in video games that have basically been used for decades, and they want to claim them as their own, which also doesn't help the gaming industry at all either. It just completely stagnates it and makes it impossible to really kind of create anything. So ultimately, I really think this is a really good thing that's happening. And I hope they do lose against PalWorld. Because, yeah, we actually need some competition on some of that stuff. And, yeah, Pokemon is their biggest IP yet. And, yeah, if they basically kind of lose their monopoly on that, that's going to be some money down the drain. Because whatever Nintendo doesn't do, someone else will. So thanks for tuning in, folks. You can always follow me over at GamingGarbage22 over at YouTube. And we make various content every single week. It's all labeled out in a playlist. And if something isn't for you, don't sweat it. There's always new content that's coming down the pipe. Also, too, you can follow me over at Twitch if you'd like. And when I'm playing video games at Don't Tread on the, you can go ahead and chat with me there if you'd like. And if you don't chat, I won't be chatting back. But yeah, you can just watch in silence if you like most of you do, and that's totally okay. But yeah, I do think it's very interesting what's going on because they are losing control. And the fact that they've had control for so long, well, I think also more companies, not just Pocket Pair, are also going to try other things like making racing games and making kind of like Mario Party games like Lego Party, and none of their IPs are really going to be protected anymore. I think that's very, very interesting. And I think going forward, more companies are going to figure out, hey, we can't really protect because things can be heavily inspired, and so now we need to patent mechanics. So I do think that's going to get worse in the 2030s. So with that, folks, I'll see you guys on the next one.